Gorgeous tiger. Gorgeous tiger. My gosh, I love Garf so freaking much, dude. Every single time there's an episode around Garf, it's just massive hype. I have grown to love the guy so freaking much. But man, that animation, absolute chef kiss. Absolute cinema. We have absolute cinema with Gorgeous Tiger. They went all out with that entire sequence and so many powerful moments throughout it. I mean, being recognized by an actual legend, being recognized by a legend. I think that little brief moment, he was kind of looking at Garf and seeing all the people behind him. And then, yes, connect that with a story that was told about Kurgan. It really did feel like, I think the guy acknowledged Garf for pretty much being him. He was somebody that stood by everybody else and fought against the odds for the people that are behind him. And I think that moment, he's like, yes, take out the weapons. This is a guy worthy of me drawing all my blades. It was just so freaking good. Yes, everybody cheering, Gorgeous Tiger, and him just standing up. Oh, good stuff. And yes, Elsa coming back once again. But my gosh, let's get into the episode proper. Jumping through the episode, I'm going to hit 3 segments. Of course, it was mostly around Garf and having a little bit of segment of Otto. And yes, some interesting stuff around Al, which we should probably start off with that. Al and Capella. I think the two of them work so well together. Like, you have the thirst of Capella, the absolute thirst of Capella, and then you have Al over here, who's just kind of like a jester. Like, he just does a really good at kind of foiling whatever she's saying. Her constantly saying, you want me, come get me, it's all here. And all the Capella fans are like, yes, please serve it up. And her ability to change into anything you want. But no, very interesting right off the bat. Finally pretty much confirming the little speculation that I had and the idea that I think I had at some point that Al was the one that flooded the place. And yes, they already insinuated before that somebody was taking out all the people that knew where the witch's bones were. And right here, Capella's connecting it. Yeah, it's kind of like you're one of those types that kind of hides in the shadow. Yeah, you probably were the one that flooded the city. We were going to have everything we wanted if it weren't for the fact that it was flooded. That confirms right there that Al knows what's going on. Al knows the plan. Again, going to this theory that Al is possibly Subaru or connected to Subaru, or at least has the powers that Subaru has of return by death. Something that is allowing him to see the future. And it could be that he just has one of the books. But either way, he knows what they were going to do and knew how to foil it, which gives a sense that he knows what's coming up. He knew where the people would be. He knew that if they didn't flood the place, that they would get what they wanted. So he was working in the background in order to do that. Again, speculation here is what Capella's speculating, and it's not like he's fully kind of denying it. He's just kind of dodging it a bit, just kind of dancing around it. And again, that does make sense to, if he wants to foil what they're doing there, they're there for the witch's bones, and there was certain people that knew where they were at, and yes, he was killing them. He wasn't just killing people on the witch's cult side, he was killing people that were living in the city that knew where the bones were. So willingness to take out anybody in order to prevent whatever they're doing. So again, that obviously implies that there's going to be something really devastating that's going to come from them getting the witch's bones. But either way, super sus. Al continues to be super sus right here. And then yes, that's when Capella is trying to feed into his desires and changing into a certain form of perfection. Just the animation of the chest kind of molding out and the thighs molding out. Once again, they kind of go pretty much all out with Capella. Like, Capella, this episode, they were just going crazy with her. But no, she says that he's a masochist and starts to kind of change into something. And here's the interesting thing. Now, again, she does imply that she has never seen Priscilla before. But she also says specifically that even though I haven't seen her, I go based on your body language, basically. I can't see your face, I can't see your expression, but I'm going to change into something that I get a reaction from you, and I know what you want. She changed her body and then changed her hair. Now, the odd thing here was that initially it was blonde, then it goes to red, then it goes to orange, and then she says age around here, and then it gets to the point where she has become Priscilla. And again, claims that she's never seen or heard of Priscilla before. Now, she could be lying, but she's specifically feeding into what she thinks Al wants. And again, this kind of goes a little bit against my theories around Al being Subaru specifically, because why would she turn into the form of Priscilla if it was Subaru, and you would assume that Subaru likes Amelia? Now, yeah, I can go down some crazy rabbit holes saying that initially she turned into blonde hair for Beatrice. You went to red hair for, I don't know, Ram or possibly Reinhardt. The red hair of Reinhard. But again, this kind of pushes against the idea of Subaru specifically, unless, again, like I kind of talked about before, at some point in Subaru's story, he chooses to discard Emilia from his life, or she's erased from his life, or he pushes back against her because her winning in the end or something like that, or him helping her in the end caused disaster, or she herself was miserable or put through suffering because he helped out Emilia. And thus now he wants to help out Priscilla to get her on the throne instead, because that would be best for Emilia. And so he's fully discarded Emilia from his mind. And yeah, maybe he replaced it with Priscilla. Or maybe because Emilia has been erased from his mind, now he's seeking out Priscilla. And yes, Priscilla's hot. let's face it, Priscilla's hot. I don't know. It can feed into all that kind of stuff. I would be interested to see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, I give Al mad credits here for not being for not being seduced by that. She's like, you could have everything. It's right here. Go ahead and have it all. And he's like, no, that's all right. I don't think this world's ready for that kind of stuff. Which is funny because I think Al sort of knows how Capella works right here, because it really does feel like he's purposely going out of his way in order to tell her that there's nothing there, that I hate you, that you're ugly, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a disgust factor there of her kind of molding into things, or whenever he cuts in her half, it's just basically a blob of tissue. Like, there is a grotesque aspect of Capella that she seemingly doesn't mind showing off. But I think there's like an element here where he's going out of his way, because even in one moment he's like, no, I don't hate you, I don't really care. Like, I don't love, I don't hate, I don't care. But then he corrects himself by saying, no, actually, I lied. You're disgusting. Like, he's going out of his way to enrage her, and I think that's probably helping him out there. And again, a sign that I think he knows how she works, and he's purposely playing off that in order to throw her off. But yeah, they fight for a little bit, and then he says that the princess smacked my butt and told me to take care of things. So I can't fail here. And she's like, you talking about another woman again? And then specifically, stars are bad today. I don't know if that is implying anything there or not. I mean, other than the fact that we've established here recently that the archbishops are all kind of named after constellations and whatnot, which I don't know, that could play into that. It does seem like there's quite a bit of the story that's starting to kind of hint towards the direction of constellations and stars and all that kind of stuff, which sucks because I have very little knowledge in that stuff, so hopefully it's not that important. But yeah, good little segment. Like I said, I think the two of them work really well together as like a comedy bit of dialogue, in the idea that, yes, Capella is being super thirsty, and Al just likes to play into it. Just, oh no, I can't do that. That's just who I'm becoming of me. My companions will talk. It's just great. We had a little brief moment of Felt, Otto, and Lye. One interesting comment that was made. Of course, Otto summons the water dragons right off the bat, sends them over, attacks them. We all knew this wasn't going to be it. I mean, those water dragons look pretty vicious, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, we're not going to knock out an archbishop that easy, unless they get into the idea of them, again, reforming themselves, or maybe possibly duplicating, because we already established right now that there's Lye and there's Roy, and they both seem to kind of talk similarly. They say we a lot, so it does imply this idea of them being many, sort of like the rabbits that they've kind of bred, and there are many of them, but they all kind of share something. But I didn't really think it was gonna be that easy. I assumed that he was just gonna consume the damn things, which it does seem like he pretty much did, killing them or whatever. But anyways, Felt said something about the fact that she was gonna go to the end because they have this thing there that can create a really powerful meteor. I have no clue what that is, but apparently it's something they have on their end that they can use, and it possibly can be used against Lye. But the interesting thing is that, yes, Gaston and Otto is going to hold them off. We get to see that Gaston apparently has some ability to make himself impervious of some sort. There's this mana flow that prevents things from stabbing him. But the interesting comment was that when Felt went to leave, Lye says specifically that's 3 Rui would like. With the girl gone, that's 3 that Rui would like. I don't recall a Rui. Unless that's a mistranslation. No, I think he said Rui. He didn't say Roy. Unless that's another name for Roy. It could imply there's somebody else, or possibly tapping into the memories. Again, we've kind of established the possibility that Roy fighting Julius is possibly tapping into Joshua's memories. So it could be that Lye might possibly be tapping into somebody's memory, somebody that knows a Rui. I don't know. We'll see. Again, as per usual, in the comments, if you're a source material reader, I don't need to know. I'm just speculating here, having fun speculating. But I'm going to put that name, Rui, in the back of my head. And before we get into Garf, yeah, we technically had a brief moment of Wilhelm and Theresia, which again, I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to that fight. I'm definitely not looking forward to that fight. Talking about, again, the Reaper's Divine Protection, which I think that was the one that cuts and you can't heal because it happens like right after he gets cut. claiming that she's beautiful and that he's not going to get lost in it, which I think is an interesting thing. It's obviously one strong element of Wilhelm's fight with her is going to be the idea of, but it's her in front of me. Can I fix her, basically? Can I be with her again here? And he seems to be going out of his way to kind of tell himself, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get lost in this moment. She's beautiful. My beautiful wife is standing in front of me and she still looks beautiful, but that's why you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here, and we'll spend plenty of time up in heaven together. He's literally trying to tell himself this isn't right. Don't get comfortable here. Get her out of here. We'll get together later on. This isn't where she should be, which I do appreciate there, even though the thought of that really, really sucks. But yes, let's get into Gorgeous Tiger. Gorgeous Tiger and Kurgan, which we did get a little brief history about Kurgan himself, that he is a living legend. He has 8 arms, and apparently demi-humans specifically typically have a high affinity to magic. Now, the interesting thing is that the many-armed tribe that he's from, they don't. So they're discriminated against. So despite the fact that there seems to be a lot of demi-humans, they all have high affinity, this tribe never did. So people kind of look down upon them. Despite all the other tribes finding places to live in the Empire, they weren't. They were mocked and discriminated against. But Kurgan turned the tables. When this lord came to attack them and just wipe them out, he stood before them and fought them all single-handedly. Even though it seems like, and they pointed out here, he also was discriminated against because he had 8 arms. All the rest of them have 4 to 5, which that would be a little bit awkward having 5. But because he had 8, he was even ostracized. But he still stood before them and fought for them. And then, yeah, it gets into the idea of the Devil's Cleavers and the fact that he doesn't draw them unless he's acknowledged somebody. So it's kind of similar to Reinhardt and the blade that he has. It only draws whatever it's somebody that is worthy, which it does get into later on, the idea of him acknowledging that. But no, I was kind of drawing a lot of parallels later on when Kurgan finally acknowledges Garf. I immediately was like, okay, there's a lot of parallels to draw here with the living legend of Kurgan. And the idea that, yes, Garf is standing before all these people that he obviously wants to protect. It was the same for Kurgan. Kurgan was standing before everything, fighting to protect it. I was kind of wondering if there might be parallels here as well, the idea of ostracizing, the idea of Garf being a demi-human, obviously not going to be... there's going to be some discrimination there, but I don't really think we've really seen any cases where when he was in this town that people ostracized him. Yeah, he kind of protected the kids, helped them out there. There was never a case where the people were looking at him terrified. But I can obviously see for the rest of it that Kurgan is sort of seeing that in Garf. Again, when he finally comes in there, closes the opening in the wall, kind of obviously closing them in there, possibly stopping the water itself, whatever. Facing off against Garf, he sees these children sitting there, sees Garf turn and face him and shield them, establishes that, yeah, those are my kid sister and kid brother. You know, they are really loud. Sorry about that. I'll talk to them later about that funny little moment there. But additionally, again, standing before him, I'm going to take you on. The guy's literally like, oh, that's me. That's me. That was me back there when I stood before this lord and his army to protect those people. It was a really cool little kind of parallel there. And again, I really do think that's the reason why he drew the sword. He drew the sword because he acknowledged that guy right there is a hero. That guy right there is a champion. Let's fight it out. He's worthy of me drawing my blades. Really cool stuff. And again, it also answers the question that I had previously of the fact that he put his hands behind his back. It's like, you're not worthy. Even from the very beginning, the earlier moments of their fight, you know, in the previous episodes, he literally was not even drawing all of his hands. He was keeping them all behind his back. That's how little he thought of Garf from the very beginning. And then compare that to the very end where he's drawn all of his blades and he's going all out for Garf. It's really cool. But like I said, the fight was amazing. But no, at some point in there, getting a little bit of a shot of Elsa from the very beginning. Yeah, of course, in the previous episodes, that was what kind of threw him off. And then the blobs of Capella fell on him, was him once again seeing Elsa. And Elsa has always been sort of this kind of fear that he constantly has welling up inside of him. This idea that he's lucky, that he got lucky with Elsa, that he should be rightfully dead. And so it does seem like whenever there's some sort of threat facing him, he keeps thinking of her. But it does seem like it's specifically coming out with the different creatures in the area. It never comes out to him with Kurgan. Like when he's facing Kurgan, he's not seeing Elsa. It only seems to be with these mob beasts. And I'm kind of curious as to why he only seems to draw the distinction between Elsa and the mob beast, other than the possibility of her being somehow related to them, smelling similarly to them, That might be something that they get a little more specific in the novel series, but I thought that was kind of an oddity there that specifically seems to pop up with Elsa. But yeah, while they're on the bridge, she pops up, and he's not able to defeat the Maw Beast. And then at some point, Kurgan comes in and destroys him. I think there might be an element there where Kurgan doesn't want them to get in the way of them. It's kind of odd that he does specifically go out of his way to kill them. And that might be somehow tied to his history as well, because it does seem like later on, when Kurgan comes down there into the shelter, he does acknowledge not just that everybody is cheering for Garf, not only that Garf is standing before him, between him and the people in the shelter, but additionally, he looks to the Maw Beast on the ground. And that could be a thing where back here he felt pity for Garf because Garf was panicking at the face of them. And then right here he's seen that Garf took out one of them and goes, okay, so he's changed. Because these people are behind him, suddenly he's changed. He's acknowledging what we literally just witnessed. The idea of Garf overcoming his fears of Elsa and taking down the Maw Beast. But no, how they nailed the whole thing with Elsa in the shelter was way too good. You had like the weird altered audio effects there. Elsa once again just smiling, coming after him. It's just extremely unsettling, beautiful, while at the same time extremely unsettling. Did I mention unsettling? It just has that unsettling feel to it, that being lost in something. And I think they really absolutely nailed that whole segment there. And then yes, eventually Garf realizing I have these people behind me, I have to get over this. And I do think this is an extension to what we've seen previously with him and Mimi. And the idea that he constantly is haunted by Elsa. And again, technically it did kind of carry over to the later scene where they had the bridge scene with him and Elsa and him running away and her just standing there on the bridge. It just keeps haunting him that he feels like that was not a deserved fight there, that he got lucky, that he's not strong. This is definitely this thing that keeps dwelling up inside of him, that he is weak and that people can't rely on him. And I think in that moment, kind of seeing again his kid sister and kid brother, he's like, yeah, I can do this. I need to do this to protect the people around me. I am strong. Hearing the cheers and finally being able to step up and do that. Really good stuff there. Yeah, it's so cute, the kids. Of course, the sister still being super tsundere. Like, I don't know why they have to have the little sister has to be tsundere. It's cute. It's cute to have the tsundere little sister. And then Kurgan coming in there and he's like, I'm gorgeous tiger. I'm gorgeous tiger. I loved it. I loved it so freaking much, dude. But that fight was insane. The animation, that fight was absolutely insane. Very interesting choices there again, like the whole fisheye view. I wasn't a massive fan of. It wasn't that long of a shot, but it did kind of stick out to me. But all the other shots were incredible. There was a little bit of lostness in there, I will admit. I've kind of mentioned this before with other shows, especially like Jujutsu Kaisen, where there's a moment where you don't really understand what actually happened. You do have this little brief shot where he does jump over Kurgan. There's a little emphasis that Kurgan has where he looks to his shoulder where Garf has cut him before in the previous altercation. And just before then, it does show a brief sense of Garf being overcome by his bestial nature, like his eyes are glowing and everything. So I'm assuming the reason why he looks to the cut is because it's sort of a bloodlust, like this idea of a beast. Whenever they smell, blood or a cut or a wound, they'll go a little bit more crazier. So I'm assuming his reaction to the cut is seeing a bloodlust in Garf. Now, when it cuts to Kurgan afterwards, when he does say magnificent, which is like what's called magnificent, and then just breaks, bodyguard breaks, magnificent, bah, you could see a cut in his neck. So I'm guessing maybe the strike was like an artery strike in his neck, and that's what caused him to sort of have a lethal strike and thus crumble because he's dead, in a sense. It was kind of vague as to what exactly beat the fight, but again, it was incredible. Like, no matter how you cut it, even though I don't really understand how the fight actually concluded, it was an incredible fight. Like, it was still absolutely amazing. I'm gonna get so much hate for picking about that, but I mean, it's just a thing. But yeah, overall, really, really incredible fight. Gorgeous tiger wins the day. Absolutely love it. And then, yeah, everybody kind of just rushing in there. And again, the little sister being Tsundere again. You need to get some healing, Babaka. You need to get some healing, Babaka. It was good. It was some good stuff. Good job, gorgeous tiger. But yeah, that was pretty much it of the episode. Really, really fantastic stuff. Again, incredible animation. Great Garf moments. I love Garf. Some great Capella moments. Her being a thirst bucket, disguised as Priscilla. Some goofy little antics between her and Al. Just overall, really, really great episode. So I'll be curious to see what happens with Otto. That leaves us with Capella, Theresia, Lye, and Roy. So we'll see how that turns out. But anyhow, Be curious to see what the meteor attack is too. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit like button down below, comment, let me know if you like the episode. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. Like this content, you want to support more. I have links in the description below. Again, if you are a source material reader, I don't need answers in the comment down below. Thank you so much, and y'all take care.